UFC Fight Night Moreno versus Albazi takes place this weekend from Edmonton, Alberta, and we're going to go over all of the fights on the card, my picks for every fight, and we're going to go through Tapology and put them all through here. So let's get started with the very first fight. I don't know if this is the exact bout order because this doesn't have how they have it set up on ESPN, but we'll start with how it is on here. Jack Shore versus Youssef Zalal. So I'm just gonna tell you right off the bat, I got Zalal here by second round sub. He's 2-0 in the UFC with two subs, and Shore's best win is like Timur Valiev, who had to go back on tough and isn't great. He also got subbed by Ricky Simone, which was a couple years ago, but Ricky Simone's washed as fuck now. So I think this would be a pretty easy one for Zalal. He looked great in the UFC so far, and I don't see Jack Shore stopping him at this point. So we're gonna go Yusuf Zalal second round submission. Shubmish, let's move on to the first women's fight on the card. Jamey-Lyn Horth versus Ivana Petrovic. Um, both are coming into their third UFC fight with Petrovic 4 years younger and coming off a sub win over Liang Na. Horth coming off a loss. I'll take Petrovic here, even though somehow she's an underdog. I don't know if they have her on here as an underdog as well, but yeah, she's still a slight underdog. That's interesting. I'm gonna take her. I don't know. I'll take the youth, and they're both pretty shit. So I'm just gonna take her by decision, submission. I don't know. We'll say decision. It's a coin toss, dude. Who knows? Who cares? Honestly, let's move up the card. Chad Anheliger versus Cody Gibson. Both extremely mid, but it should be a good fight because of that. Both are pretty shit and 37 years old. Don't know why we still have him on the roster, but I guess I'll go Cody Gibson by decision. Like I guess he's looked better recently. Neither has great finishing potential, but hey, maybe this will just be they'll be stupid and just stand in the middle and throw down the whole time because they're both mid as fuck. Gibson's grappling's okay. I'll take him to have the edge here. I don't know. It'll probably be a shit fight, but maybe it'll be good because of that. Who knows? We're moving quick. Not a whole lot to talk about here. A lot of mid fights here. So let's move up to the next one. Serhiy City and Garrett Armfield. Kind of sounds like Circuit City if you guys fucking know about Circuit City. R.I.P. Anyway, not sure how Serhiy City's a favorite here, honestly. He has decent finishing potential, but just lost his rematch to Ramon Tavares after an early stoppage in the first fight on the Contender Series. Stand is 2-2 in his last four, coming off a loss as well. They're both 28, but Armfield has more experience and is listed as 5 inches shorter. So really tough one to pick. This is another just toss up. I want to go Armfield, but I just think. I don't know, man. I want to go Armfield, but I feel like that'll be wrong. And Serhiy City's a hometown guy from Canada as well. We're gonna go Serhiy City by decision. Here's the problem. The last time one of these cards came out, I figured all the Canadians would win, and they literally all of them lost. I think all of the men lost. Maybe a couple of the women won, but it was really embarrassing. So hopefully they don't have a similar fate here. Last time it was a pay per view though. This is a fight night, so maybe that'll be a little bit less pressure for them. I don't know. Um, Really tough one to pick. I don't know. They're very similar. 10-2 versus 10-4. Um, Armfield's out of Florida, one of our base brothers here. Both 28. I don't know, dude. We're gonna go Serhiy City by decision. You can't. There's not even much to talk about here, bro. We're just gonna pick and move the fuck on because I don't know. You know what I mean? MMA is so fucking whack. You know what I mean? And you're gonna see some of these fights. My justification is that people haven't gotten finished in their whole career. We just had Holloway get fucking slept. So it's like, who knows anymore, bro? Anyway, moving up. Alexandr Romanov versus Rodrigo Nascimento. Oh, battle of the mid-fat heavyweights. They practically have the same striking stats, and Romanov has a bit better grappling, I would say, at least in the wrestling and the wet blanket skills. So I think I'm going to take Romanov here by decision. Could be a sub. He does like to go for that forearm choke, right, or like some of those weird subs on the ground. So could be cut some. That's what's his name? Never mind. Anyway, could be a sub. Nascimento is decent jiu-jitsu though, and I guess Romanov has more finishing potential. I don't know. Nascimento's only won close fights, a lot of split decisions. I'm gonna take Romanov to bounce back here against the worst competition that he's faced in a while. He's had some good fights and lost them, but we're gonna take him to come back here. What are the odds looking like? Even wow, they have Nascimento. I'm gonna go Romanov. I don't give a fuck. We'll say decision. They're just gonna fucking wail around in the octagon for 3 rounds. Moving up the card, Charles Jourdain versus Victor Henry. Another really tough one to pick, man. Absolutely 50-50 in my eyes. What are the odds saying? The odd, yeah, absolute fucking even. I have no idea. Really tough time picking this. I want Jourdain to win, but someone's telling me that Victor Henry is gonna win. Really confusing. My guts tell me Henry. I want to go Jourdain. I'm going to go Jourdain. 9 years younger, still has something to fight for. And I think Charles will mix in the wrestling a little bit better and get a unanimous decision here. Henry has never been finished in his 24 pro fights, but we did just see Holloway get slept, like I said, so it's like, who the fuck knows? Henry's old as fuck, 37 years old. Jourdain's younger, hungrier, still has something to fight for, and honestly, if he loses this, might be risking getting booted out of the UFC, coming off 2 other losses. So they were to Gene Silva and Sean Woodson, but split decision to Woodson, and that's a really tough matchup for him, and really anybody in that division, because he's like a fucking slender man, fucking tall ass little alien of a thing. But Gene Silva knockout. Everyone's getting fucking KO'd by Gene Silva, so that's not the worst thing ever, but still not great. I got a bad feeling Henry's gonna win, and Jourdain also lost the last time on the pay per view back home in Canada, so I don't know. I'm not feeling good about it, but I'll take Jourdain by decision. Moving up the card, Ariane Lipski and Jasmine Jasudavicius. Another tight matchup, man. Both extremely mid. Lipski now it says on ESPN she's listed as De Silva. De Silva is Lipski on here. We're gonna call her Lipski. Who gives a fuck? She's been KO'd 4 times. That's a bit of a red flag. Really, the only thing between these two that stands out to me at all in this matchup. Jasmine isn't much of a finisher on the feet, and Lipski has never been subbed, so it tells me this is going to end up being an absolute fucking snooze fest. Plan your breaks accordingly. We're going to go Jasmine to shoot a vicious by decision. Probably going to be an absolute fucking snoozer. Moving up the card, Aiemann Zahabi versus Pedro Munhoz. Now, this one might be boring, but this would be a good fucking fight. This is going to be a close fight. Munhoz doesn't get finished. He is the gatekeeper of the division against the up-and-comer Aiemann Zahabi. Munhoz coming off 2 tough decision losses to Vera and Phillips, while Zahabi is riding a 4-fight win streak, including 2 KOs. I think this is going to be really close, but I like Zahabi here just doing more over the course of the distance and getting a unanimous decision over Pedro Munhoz here. Really tough. I don't see him getting a finish, but maybe close. Like maybe he gets close, and that'll win him one of the rounds decisively, and then maybe one of the other rounds he edges out and wins it 2-1. I think it will be a relatively close fight. It typically is with Pedro Munhoz, but he has a way of doing that. If it's not going to be a close fight, slowing the other guy down enough so that it looks more close than it is. So I'll still go with Aiemann Zahabi here, the up and comer against the gatekeeper. I guess we'll see what happens. Moving up, Mike Malott and Trevin Giles. So Mike Malott, another one of these guys coming off that massive fraud check at home against Neil Magny. That last pay-per-view, Strickland versus Duplessis. I think it was like 297 at the beginning of the year. I think it was January or February. Anyway, back on that pay-per-view, all the fucking Canadian men lost. It was really depressing for them. Not for me, you know what I mean? Anyway, got fraud checked by Neil Magny. Really pathetic loss after he was dominating most of the fight against Magny. Just did not have enough gas in the tank to finish it and ended up getting finished by just a craftier vet, I guess you could say. Just somebody that knew how to pace himself to the point where he saw Malott's battery dead and fucking ended him. So, yeah, tough one to come off of. Giles coming off of back-to-back finished losses via KO from Carlos Prates and a sub from Gabriel Bonferme, as well as his 2 previous losses before that being KOs against Michael Morales and DDP. So obviously he's fighting pretty good comp, but getting finished every time is not a good look. It doesn't just mean you're good because you get finished against good competition just because you fight him. So yeah, all good fighters to lose to, but nonetheless, I like Malott here. I think he's going to play it safe and work for an early sub. I'm going to take him by first round sub here. I don't think he's going to want to go anywhere deeper in this fight. Maybe he's going to want to pace himself better, but I think his objective is just going to be to work to the ground and try to work towards a sub as early as possible. So, speaking of somebody that got fraud checked on that card, Marc-Andre Barriault and Dustin Stoltzfus. So, Barriault also coming off that fraud check at home against Chris Curtis, followed by a first round KO loss to Joe Baby Peen Pfeiffer. Not a lot of momentum for him. At least they're coming back home and he's in Canada. That'll help a little bit. Stoltzfus, very mid. Kind of exciting to watch most of the time, but just extremely mid. Coming off a first round KO loss to Bruno Ferreira, and 2 fights before that, a KO loss to Bus Magomedov, who they just fought each other, and the Bus took Bruno to a decision, and or did he? No, he finished him, right? No, he finished him in the 3rd. That's right. Bruno should have won that fight, but the Bus fucking actually worked on his gas tank a bit, paced himself a bit better, and had a little bit more at the end of the 3rd to finish. But anyway, he got both of those guys fucking finished Stoltzfus. I just think Dustin's worse than Marc-Andre at this point. I don't know. They're both pretty mid, and it's middleweight, so who the fuck knows what's going to happen. I'll take Marc-Andre by a 3rd round KO. just gasses him out, probably doing most of the damage the whole fight, and then just finishes him early or late in the third. I don't really know, dude. I have a feeling Marc-Andre is going to win because Stoltzfus just sucks, and they're obviously trying to lay up these Canadian guys again. They tried to do it last time and obviously gave him too much competition. So moving up to the next fight, Caio Machado and Brenson Ribeiro. Both of these guys coming off of the Contender Series, two shit light heavyweights, both coming off back-to-back losses, and both guys won on the Contender Series and then lost their first 2 UFC fights. So honestly, whoever loses this may be out, dude. They may be cut after you win the Contender Series and lose your first 3. That's not a great look, and typically will lead to guys getting cut unless they have some kind of big following. Ribeiro has more pro experience and is younger, and I think he has more finishing potential. So I'm going to take Brenson Ribeiro by first round KO, and I think Machado is going to get the fuck out of here. He's pretty shit. He won by decision on the Contender Series too, and they gave him a contract, which they probably shouldn't. So I think they're going to correct that mistake after this first round KO. I'm going to take Brenson Ribeiro. What's the odds here? He's an underdog? Oh my god, bro. Really? I don't know about that, bro. Fucking Caio Machado sucks, bro. Don'Tale Mayes beat you. Like, Mick Parkin's he's decent, but Don'Tale Mayes, brother, I don't know how that's good money on Brenson Ribeiro. I'd take that money. I'll take him first round KO. Moving up to the feature fight of the main card, Derek Lewis and Jonta Deniz. 2 KO specialists. Deniz riding a 2-fight win streak after his Contender Series KO, beating Austin Lane and Carl Williams in the process. Derek Lewis, who of course has been at the top middle area of the heavyweight division for fucking as long as any of us can remember, has not been looking great, but recent KO wins over Rodrigo Nascimento and Marcos Rodrigo de Lima, 2 fucking Brazilians. I have Deniz is Brazilian too, right? Hey, maybe there's a trend. Maybe I should reconsider my pick. Wow, now that I just thought of that, maybe I am going to reconsider. I had Deniz by second round KO, but fuck this guy. We got Derek Lewis, second round KO, taking his shorts off, throwing him out. The usual Derek Lewis shit. Fuck this guy. I like the trend of him knocking out the Brazilian, so we're going to go with it. Derek Lewis, second round KO. Who gives a fuck, mate? Moving up, co-main event of the evening. Oh, no, I didn't know this was 5 rounds. Fuck, man. Again, guys, be smart. Plan your breaks accordingly. There's no fucking way I'm watching this shit. I'm telling you that right now. Rose Namajunas and Aaron Blanchfield, how the fuck are they doing this 5 rounds? I'm actually angry now. I didn't notice that when I was looking over the predictions and picking. Both lost to Man and Fiora. I think we saw Blanchfield's last fight. She does not have any killer instinct. Doesn't seem like she has that championship medal, that what you need to weather the storm and get through a championship. I don't know, dude. Rose Namajunas fucking knocks out, Zhang Weili and all these other. Who else should knock out to win the championship? Who was it? Weili Zhang. I don't know. She beat these 2 bums when she moved up. But anyway, Rose has better finishing potential. Blanchfield is decent on the ground. Probably going to try to work for her wrestling and keep Rose off the feet. God, I could not care less. I'm going to take Rose by decision here. Maybe she finishes her before the 5th now that this is 5 rounds, but I imagine it's going to be an extremely boring fight because they know whoever wins is going to be towards the top of the division and looking towards a title shot. That's typically and honestly, even in men's fights, that does happen sometimes where these guys know that it's going into like if they don't know that they need to have a good performance to get like a title shot. Like let's say a Magomed Ankalaev last weekend where Dana White literally told him, or the UFC, whoever told him, that he needs to have a good performance in order to, warrant a title shot, even if he wins. And he said, I'm not going to shoot any takedowns, and then doesn't do it. That does tend to happen in really high stakes fights like that. It end up being boring because people know what's on the line and they want to try to play it safe. So I think that's going to be what happens here. I think Namajunas is just going to be pretty boring. Blanchfield's going to be trying to take her down. She might have some success, but I think she'll end up getting stuffed eventually. And we're going to take Rose by decision. It's going to be a really long break, guys. It's going to be a long... Because it's going to be almost an hour between the end of this fight, especially if it's a finish, until the beginning of the main event. Anyway. Well, a little more excited. Main event of the evening. Brandon Moreno and Amir Albazi. We'll just act like that's not happening. We'll move on. Yeah, this one's kind of a weird one. Albazi riding a 5-fight win streak, but he's been out since June of 2023 after a very close split decision win over Kai Kara-France. I remember live, I thought Kai Kara won that, and then this dude just doesn't show up for the next year and a half afterwards. So I don't know. Brandon Moreno coming off of 2 close split decision losses. The first one to Pantoja for the title, which I don't know. And then Royval right after. I think watching live, I thought Moreno beat Pantoja in the championship fight, but then I thought that he lost to Royval after that. Both were split decisions. Both were pretty quick, pretty close fights. He looked really bad in his last fight, though. I'm not gonna lie. He looked like he took a massive step backwards in. I don't know what the way to say it is. Like his fight game, he just did not look as much of a killer as he usually does. Did not look like he was as aggressive. Didn't have those finishing instincts as much. Did not look good at all his last fight. I think we can all agree on that. But I don't like the layoff more than I don't like Moreno's last fight. So I'm gonna take Moreno here by decision. If you want to bet on something other than decision, you'll probably get no money. Probably sub for Moreno if anything. Albazi's never been finished, and Moreno hasn't had much finishing instinct recently. So a finish isn't off the table, but it's probably going to be a sub if anything for Moreno. Uh, yeah, dude, this is going to be a close fight. He's a slight favorite here on the odds. I think the layoff for Albazi is going to be an issue. Moreno stayed active and has had two high-level fights since then and beat Kai Kara France, before that sometime. So he finished Kai Kara France, which obviously Albazi couldn't do, and then went on to have really close fights with Pantoja and Royval, who are both top contenders, and obviously Pantoja being the champion. Yeah, I just think all of those things considered leads me to Moreno. I don't think he'll get a sub because, like I said, Albazi hasn't been finished. But if he does get finished, I could see it being by decision, or sorry, by decision, by submission. Albazi is out of Extreme Couture, which might be good for him, but I don't know if that'll be enough here. I don't know. Typically, if guys are, if they're with a better gym, you might get a little bit of an edge, but I don't think that'll be enough here. Moreno's a seasoned vet, man. He's been at the top. He's been having to fight back. He's had to have wins back for the championship, retake the championship, and now he wants to go back and do it again. So I like Moreno to win here. I think Albazi's been off too long. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This card's not great. I mean, it is a fight night. I'm glad it's in person because that'll be better than the fucking Apex for sure. But I don't know, man. These fucking Canadians better do a better job than they did last time, though, because, dude, all of them fucking lost last time. It was really embarrassing and absolutely ruined the pay-per-view. But, yeah, let me know what you think. Not a great card, but this is going to be really rough to watch, and then the main event might end up being a snoozer too if it just turns into a grappling fest. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, like the video if you like the video, subscribe. I'll be back with more UFC videos, and if not anything big happening this week, a recap after the card. We'll see. There's probably gonna be something to fucking talk about, but I'll be back. Peace.